Welcome to Potions, Lotions, and Ghost Stories here at Homegrown Oddities. Tonight, we're going to talk about the house. As promised a few weeks ago, I would tell you the story about our house. Excuse me if my voice sounds a little bit different tonight, but I am recovering from an illness. But anyways, thank you and let us begin. Our story begins back a couple hundred years ago. This property was not always what it was. The road was not always where it was. In fact, the road ran through the backyard, right through the pine trees. And then the cemetery across the street was actually the front yard. Now, in that meantime, we were talking, there was a war, there was settlers, Mennonites, Amish. I mean, it was 1800s. Couldn't expect too much for what it was. But we were told by one of the local people that the house sat near the cemetery. And they're pretty sure it sat where my house sat. Now, upon doing some research, we found out there was a house here before this became the house that it is today. Now, this previous house had burned down, and unfortunately, 2 people have passed away in that fire. It was never told as to what their names were, but I know their names. They came to see myself, and they came to see my daughter. Now, one night, my daughter had a dream that there was 2 horses pulling a log and pulling down the house. It was still smoky, she said. She doesn't know why this was. And she doesn't know why she had this dream. And she had it for the next 3 nights. On the 3rd night, I had a little visit from the lady that had passed away in the fire. She looked very charred. Oh, it was so gruesome the way she looked. She did show me how pretty she was with her long brown hair and her little girly figure. Oh, she was cute. But anyway, her son had passed away in the fire as well. So he was there too. He always came across as a little boy with just a little patch of hair on the side of his head. I guess in the fire, it had taken away the rest of his hair. Her name was Elizabeth. She had told me they don't know how, but it was back in the early 1900s, late 1800s, so somewhere around the turn of the century. And that they believe it might have been a candle, because back then they didn't have electricity. But anyways, I met these 2 young people. They're still here today. I see them every so often. They tell me if they like how the house looks or doesn't look. They also let me know if there's anything else I need to do to protect us and things like that. So now that I knew this information, I continue to do my research. I went to the town board and asked about the history. Oh, indeed. There is history. Some of the records were caught on fire. How funny is that? Fire in the house, fire to ruin the records. But anyway, the records that they did have did show a house with the cemetery, but they couldn't figure out which side of the street it was on, because like I said back then, the street didn't go through where it goes through now. It was all different. And there was a house that stood here, and it was a 2-story house. and it had burned down. Although they did not know why. I hadn't said to them, well, maybe it was because back then they had candles and that stuff does kind of happen. And of course, I just got looked at. But anyway. Other people who have been here have taken pictures of the yard and have seen flames on the trees. They have heard disembodied voices. And one picture even has the outline of a lady peeking out from behind the tree as someone is pulling into my driveway. There is not too much mischief from this couple. The mother and the son don't really cause too many problems. They just let you know that they're around. And I appreciate that. But of course I include them on the house repairs and stuff too, so we kind of have a little relationship, and I think they will. They appreciate it. But one of these days you should come by and take pictures during the night, and you can see the trees on fire. You can see people walking behind the trees as if they were looking for someone. Sometimes you can see people looking through the rubble where the house used to stand. And every so often you can hear the chains of the horses when they pull the big pole through the mist of the rubble as they knock down the house. But I enjoy those kind of things. As I've said before, I am a medium and a psychic. And to me, they're just new guests.